can. Thanks, Doreen. Well, I am unable to see how many people are visiting with us today, so we're flying a little blind, but I am Tori Johnson, and I serve as the Minority University Research and Education Project Manager out of NASA headquarters within the Office of STEM Engagement. And I'm joined today by my colleague, Doreen Thomas, and we're going to tag team this presentation and move through rather quickly so that we can pave the way for our colleague, Dr. Wanda Peters, who will be joining us shortly. So we'll go next slide. We are endeavoring to share a few things about the Office of STEM Engagement, formerly known as the Office of Education. And so our vision is focused on engaging or immersing students in NASA's work. Our mission is ensuring that students are engaged in the mission of NASA, and we do that through creation of unique opportunities. Doreen's going to be sharing a number of those, building a diverse future STEM workforce, and also attracting a diverse group of students to STEM. And that's why we're here. That's why we're talking with you folks at the Society for Black Physicists. So next slide, please. So just so that you know, we as an agency have a strategy for STEM engagement, and this particular set of years, 20 through 23, there's an emphasis on diversity, equity.
Oh, okay. I just finally got in. I just tried it too.
Hello, I think we've got some open mics.
Yes, I think Sandra just got Wanda just got in. I apologize, Wanda. We started the second talk, and I'm going to ask our hosts to upgrade you to panelist, and right after Tori, we'll have you talk if you don't mind. Tori, apologies for the disruption. Please go ahead.
It's okay.
Thank you.
It's all right. We are ever agile at NASA, right? So again, just a focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion, and that is part of what we're going to be talking about briefly today. Next slide. So we won't talk much on these particular slides, just to let you know as an audience that the Office of STEM Engagement has 4 programs. MIRAP is the one-third from the bottom, focused on minority serving institutions. Those are your HBCUs, your tribal colleges, Hispanic serving, and the like. But there are also the Space Grant Consortia, EPSCoR, which is focused on competitive awards in jurisdictions that may be disadvantaged financially, and also our K through 12 efforts. Next slide, please. And I believe all of these charts can be made available to the participants if they would like them. We are focused on broadening student participation, and so there are efforts to engage students with respect to strengthening practices and systems, focusing on metrics and data, and also having a collective focus across the STEM engagement community or ecosystem. Next slide, please. We'll move right through these. One of the things I just want everyone to be to have in their toolkit is that there are executive orders through the White House initiatives that really give us our direction on the areas and the institutions that we focus on. And so you see here, again, efforts focused around HBCUs, predominantly Black institutions, all the way down. And so that's sort of our guiding principles, if you will. Next slide. The vision from MIRAP, we're focusing on enhancing the research, academic, and technological capabilities of minority serving institutions, and ultimately the students that go to those institutions. We do that by providing authentic student learning experiences. Again, I'm going to keep pointing over to Doreen. She's going to share some wonderful ways that internships plays a part in that, and we'll go next slide. And you can click all the way through these. This just shows how we focus on research and infrastructure building. We provide different kinds of resources, talking at events such as this and connecting with individuals. Ultimately, our focus is on student success. And then we also have internal and external partnerships that allow us to meet these targeted targeted outcomes, excuse me, that are mission-centered and aligned and allow enhanced capabilities, broadening of student participation, and the like. So we'll move forward. We are completely interested in students moving through the gates, if you will, and ultimately getting degree attainment. And so you folks in physics know that all too well. And we want to make sure that we are pressing and encouraging students to do that. And so we encourage them through mentoring relationships and validating experiences. We'll keep moving through, Doreen. These are just some of our student efforts. Again, these slides will be presented to you, so we'll keep moving. And that's just a little bit of us in action. I want to get to Doreen so that she can go through her slide deck. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tori. And I will try to give a 60-second overview of this so that you all can get to the good stuff of Wanda's presentation. So essentially for OSTEM internships, we are currently recruiting for our spring 2022 cycle. Our internships are stipend paid activities, and those stipends are based on your academic level, as well as the duration of your internship. And as Tori mentioned, everything that we do in the Office of STEM Engagement is about student success. And so not only are you doing these projects, but you are being mentored by professionals at NASA, and they are people who are going to be invested in your success. I actually just left another presentation where we have some mentors and interns try to get more students into the door. So it's an ever collaborating and agile environment, as Tori mentioned. So in addition to spring, we have 2 other sessions, fall and summer. The summer session will be the next one that we start recruiting for. And those projects are usually up in the new year. Our internships are fully virtual right now, but they also take place across all of the 13 NASA centers and facilities. And each one has unique missions, has unique focuses. You know, we don't just do aerospace, we don't just do rockets and astronauts. I myself, I'm a business major in IO psychology, master's. And we need everyone, especially our physicists. So to participate in internships, you must be a US citizen, be enrolled in a degree-seeking program, or be within 6 months of graduating. Our internships are open to high school students even, and you must be 16 years of age to participate. But as long as you knock those things out, we can work with you on the rest. And so once again, we have a new website. So go in there, check out all these different opportunities. Internships is on here, as well as some of the other programs that Tori alluded to. And when you go on the site, now we're really excited. You can actually see all of the opportunities that are available across the agency. And you can use the search list to look for those keywords. And again, if you do have questions, you can connect with us on social media. I will also drop my LinkedIn in the chat in case you have follow-up questions. And if we have time from 4 to 4:30, we will be networking. So if you're interested in joining the virtual networking event, once again, just let me know on LinkedIn. And that is all for us. I think I took 120 seconds instead of 60, but we do appreciate y'all for the time today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tori and Doreen. I really appreciate, and especially I really appreciate you putting us back on time. Dr. Peters, we are so glad to have you in the room. And you know, all good things are worth the wait. So I'm not going to take longer. I'm just going to ask the executive person to also upgrade to panelist Dr. Lori Glaze, if you don't mind. And I'm going to move on into introducing our next speaker, who was supposed to be the opening speaker, Dr. Wanda Peters. Dr. Peters has over 35 of experience in the science, engineering, and programmatic working for the federal government. She is a member of the Senior Executive Service of the United States of America. Presently, Dr. Peters serves as the Deputy Associate Administrator for Programs in the Science Mission Directorate at NASA headquarters. And she is basically in charge of assessing what's over 100 missions for NASA and what is worth almost a multi-billion-dollar portfolio. So in order not to take too long, I'm gonna just leave room for Dr. Peters to start. Dr. Peters, I'm gonna share my screen. I'm gonna be driving your presentation for you.
I greatly appreciate it. Thank you. And so I'll wait for the slides to get up.
All right, you should be able to start seeing it. Oh,
yes,
perfect.
I see it. If you can go in.
Okay, and I'm gonna put it in presentation mode.
Great, thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, so I will say on behalf of NASA and on behalf of the Science Mission Directorate, I am very excited to be here. And you know that by all of the effort that it took me to actually get into Zoom. So thank you for your patience, and look forward to sharing about what we're doing in the Science Mission Directorate at NASA. I've worked in the science field, engineering and technology for over 35 years. I've loved every part of the journey, and that's because it's contributed to who I am today. And I look forward to growing and evolving as we walk and sometimes run into the future. So who am I? I'm a dreamer, I'm a student, I'm a teacher, I'm a leader, I'm a manager, I'm a mom, I'm a wife. But all of those things are just titles. What I do for NASA is I'm the Deputy Associate Administrator for Programs, but mostly importantly, I'm a voice for the voiceless and the door for those who need one. It's not, leadership is not just about what I accomplish, it's also about the lives that I touch along the journey. And so with that, I want to go to the next slide, please. So I started my STEM career with the Department of the Navy at the Naval Research Laboratory. And then I joined NASA in 1990 as a contractor and converted over to the government in 2005. So I started off as an engineer. I was the technical expert in the field of thermal control coatings for space applications. And one of the things that I noticed is that they seek out technical experts a lot for their opinions and for their recommendations, but the individuals that are making the decisions are really the managers or the principal investigators or project managers of our missions. So what I chose is I wanted to be one of those managers. So earlier in my career, I charted a path for me to go into management. And that has been very beneficial to me and hopefully for beneficial to those who I've also developed. And so at the beginning of my journey in management, it was very, very fulfilling. And now I've evolved. And one of the things that we've learned when you go through this into becoming a leader, because managing things is one thing, but actually leading efforts is very significant. And so I get to be a leader in NASA. I get to share about all of the exciting things that we do in the science. Next slide, please. So the science, now this is why I'm here. This is a representation of our science fleet, and all the names that you see on that chart are names of missions that we have accomplished or we plan to accomplish. Those who are rotating around the Earth are our Earth science missions. We have lunar missions. We have astrophysics missions that looks into the galaxies and the stars. We have it around the sun. And then we also have a lot of planetary missions, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to understand things that we haven't learned before and seek new knowledge. And it's really thrilling. Next slide, please. So in 2020, we issued a Science 2020-2024 Vision for Scientific Excellence. We described how we view the vision for leading the Science Mission Directorate, along with our mission statement, key values, and our priorities. One priority, interconnectivity and partnerships, includes reaching out to the parts of the nation that are not currently a key part of our portfolio. Now, we're driven by the knowledge that we're compelling science required innovative management and excellent teams, but not but, because we're taught to say and those innovative management and excellent teams require inclusion, diversity, equity, and accessibility. Having those components is what makes a team stronger. Next slide, please. So as part of our vision, we look at the 5 core values of NASA. So NASA's core values are safety, integrity, teamwork, excellence, and inclusion. And we look at it, how they all feed into mission success. We articulate all of this in our vision and its alignment with our NASA core values. So the bottom line is we know a diverse, inclusive, equitable, and accessible workplace means a stronger, successful, and strongly innovative team. Next slide, please. So these successful and innovative teams have either contributed to or are contributing to these missions that you see on the screen now. So we're going to go into detail about each one of these missions on the following ones. So I'm going to give you a science highlight. Next, please. The NASA's Perseverance Mars rover successfully collected its first pair of rock samples in early September as it searches for signs of microbial life on Mars. Now, both of these samples, they're named, and if I mess it up, please forgive me, Montague and Mount Denier, came from the same rock. These are the first of the samples that we might be selecting for return home as part of the Mars sample return as early as 2031. So in 2031, we're looking to receive samples from Mars and expand our knowledge about our universe. Next slide, please. Landsat 9 successfully launched in September 27th at 2:12 p.m. from the Vandenberg Space Flight Space Force Base in California. So Landsat is one of our Earth science missions. It is the next observatory in the Landsat program, and the program is a 40-year effort to monitor the change of the Earth's surface. It extends our ability to measure changes on the global land surface as a scale where we can separate those human causes from those that are natural causes of change. Next, please. Lucy is one of our planetary missions. NASA's Lucy mission launched on October 16th of this year at 5:34 a.m. And it was at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station in Florida. Now, Lucy's is NASA's first mission to the Trojan asteroids, remnants of our earlier solar systems with a thought to be the same material that we formed of the outer planets. Over its 12 years of primary mission, Lucy will explore a record-breaking number of asteroids. So if you can envision this, we're going to be flying by one main belt of asteroids and 7 Trojan asteroids, and it's going to be over a 12-year period, and we're going to collect all of that information about those asteroids and probably learn a lot of new things that we didn't know before. We believe that these primitive bodies hold vital clues to deciphering the history of our solar system and may even tell us about the kinds of organic materials that have been that may have been supplied to the early Earth. Next, please. Okay, so this is our ultraviolet spectral chronograph Pathfinder. And it's a joint mission between NASA and the U.S. Naval Research Laboratory. The ultraviolet spectral chronograph Pathfinder is looking to launch no earlier than November 22nd. The experiment will be dedicated to studying the origins of solar energetic particles, the sun's most dangerous form of radiation and a major challenge to space exploration. A solar particle storm, or what we call a SEP, which is the solar energetic particle event, occurs when the sun fires energetic particles into space at such a high speed that they sometimes reach Earth 93 million miles away in less than an hour. Flurries of the powerful particles can wreak havoc with spacecraft, and it can also expose our astronauts to dangerous levels of radiation. This mission's observations will complement those of the NASA Parker Solar Probe and the ESA and NASA Solar Observatory. So this way we'll have more information, especially when we're planning to explore in the future. Next, please. One of our other divisions within the Science Mission Directorate is the Biological and Physical Science Division. And we have the Advanced Plant Habitat for Planet Habitat-04, which conducts microbial analysis to improve the understanding of plant microbes interaction in space, and is preparing to harvest its last growth experiment, chili pepper plants. So plants such as chili peppers, which are high in vitamin C's, will be very important in the dietary supplement for our long duration missions in the future. So even when we're in space, we'll have the ability to have some spicy food. Next, please. This is James. This is the Astrophysics Division. This is the James Webb Space Telescope. And the James Webb Space Telescope, commonly referred to as Webb, is currently undergoing its final operational preparations in a clean room in French Guiana prior to its targeted launch on December 18th. Now, Webb is an orbiting infrared observatory that will be the last and most powerful and complex space telescope ever built and launched into space. The increased ability of Webb will complement and expand the discoveries that we've seen from the Hubble Space Telescope. And we've gotten some beautiful pictures, images, as well as science from Hubble. And it will allow us, Webb will allow us a much closer, we'll take a look much closer to the beginning of time and search for unobserved formations in the first galaxies, as well look inside of the dust clouds which the stars and planetary systems are forming today. Webb's discoveries will fundamentally alter our understanding of the universe. And so that's really a picture of all of them. And I didn't mention when I was talking about the ultraviolet spectral chronograph, that's in our heliophysics division. So now we have, if you can go to the next slide, please. Now I want to tell you something about how you can become involved with some of these activities. So the cornerstone of NASA's scientific competition process is peer reviews. An open, transparent, fair, and equitable peer review of proposed ideas. NASA has two different processes for these evaluations. NASA research announcements, that some people say NARS, and then we have an announcement of opportunities, what we also refer to as AOs. So the NASA research announcements can be used to propose unique research, which each having its own solicited topics, cadence, and due date. ROSES is the most known of these types of solicitations. Our AOs are solicitations for opportunities for investigations that require spaceflight. They advance the high priorities of the science, exploration, and technology objectives. SMD believes that, can you go to the next slide, please? So we believe that a lack of understanding and experience of the NASA proposal process has been among the significant barriers to participation. The results of our NASA equity request for information, because one of the things is an organization, we wanted to make sure that we were broadly trying to engage all of the scientific community. So we put out a request for information as well as other SMD-led efforts. And this is going to help us gain important insight about these obstacles that might be preventing underserved communities and individuals, prevent them from being able to be successful in the proposal process. So when they're when we found that the proposal process is not well understood, we're taking the time to make sure that we understand the barriers from those that are accessing our material and information. We've heard that many of our proposals have needed more flexibility in schedules. So now with Rose's 2021, we have no due dates for review, which means we will review proposals throughout the year with a cadence that will depend on the submittals. And what's most important, we need feedback from the community. We need you to make us understand what obstacles are out there so we can make a greater effort and spend more time listening to you and resolving some of those issues so we can be more inclusive of all communities. Next, please. SMD takes many different steps to encourage and promote the development of excellence inclusive workforce. So we're including PI research websites. We really strive to ensure that our workforce research community are balanced within their life goals. We've been developing new guidance to inform our research communities about the work-life balance options they have. We have a dual anonymous peer review process. SMD is strongly committed to promoting a culture that actively encourages diversity and inclusion, and it removes barriers to participation. One important way is for achieving this is to ensure that the review of proposals is performed in an equitable and fair manner. So under the dual anonymous peer review process, reviewers and proposers remain anonymous. We're trying to eliminate the years of unconscious bias against women and minority groups and have truly leveled the playing field in evaluating our NASA proposals using this technique. We have award terms and conditions. NASA requires that the reporting and finding of harassment, sexual harassment, or sexual assault against a PI or any of the co-Is of grants, we want that reported. And we have an inclusion palette. We're running trials in some of the ROSES program, which each proposer is required to describe plans for creating and sustaining a positive and inclusive work environments. So, that's what we need. We need people to be able to be in a very positive environment so they can be innovative and really produce great things in the name of science. Next slide, please. So our SMD engagement strategy, we've created the engagement strategy so we can provide a roadmap of how SMD will build meaningful dialogue with underserved and underrepresented groups from varying levels. We're doing this by prioritizing and focusing on underrepresented and underdeserved communities, focusing on our values and in particular inclusions. The emphasis is to build relationships that can be grown and sustained through partnerships, two-way conversations, transparent communications. Our intent is to build trust, invest in our stakeholders, and join us as we strive to be active participants in dialogues. So we have done some of our initial engagements to contribute to this, and we're looking forward to engaging a broader community. So next slide, please. So one of the things we want to just say, come along with us. We want to hear your voices. It's very important to us. And I don't know the timing, if we have time for any questions, or Doris, and we do have some of our division directors and deputy directors here along with me, and I greatly appreciate their time. So if you have questions, you have a wealth of us to address your questions.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Dr. Peters. And we do have almost 8 minutes. So please go ahead if you have any questions for Dr. Peters or for Dr. Johnson or for Dr. Thomas, please go ahead and ask your questions now.
No, there's about 3 minutes because we have another coming in right now. So yeah. But we do appreciate how we're moving through. And I'm amazed, Dr. Peters, that all that work and you able to, wow, you do this often. Fabulous. Fabulous, man.
It's a good team. We have a good team. And if Lori, Diane, I'm not sure who else is on, if they can pop on, we have a good team. So I have a lot of people who brief me. They give me information. We have a lot of great people doing a lot of great work. And plus, we love what we do. So we're excited. We're excited about this information. That's why we want to share it with you. So if there's one question, we'll take one question or however you want to proceed, because we want to keep you on schedule. And thank you for all of the adjustments.
Well, I see no questions. I don't hear any.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
Okay, great. I always wondered how you kind of started, how do you all get the mission going? You know, sell it on, it's like so many great things you can do, right? And so how do you sell it in on a mission, a great mission? You know, I mean, of course, the James Webb, I mean, the sunscreen, I mean, just so many great ones. How do you sell on which one and then prioritize them?
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spotlight Dr. Lori Glaze, because Lori has been a PI. She's right now the director, the division director for our planetary division, but she's been a PI for many years, and she's come up with a lot of those great ideas. So Lori?
That's a great question. And there's actually a couple of different processes and mechanism. And the one that Wanda's referring to is having a principal investigator, which is a scientist in the community that says, here's a great idea that I think as a scientist would be really cool to explore. Myself, I was really interested in going to Venus. And so I actually wrote a whole bunch of Venus mission proposals that were never successful, but they're a fantastic opportunity to develop an idea. And then it goes through that proposal process that Wanda was talking about, that announcement of opportunity, where you compete your ideas against other really great science ideas. And they go through assessment of the quality of the science, but also the feasibility of the technology. And ultimately then the very best missions get selected to fly. We also have recommendations from the National Academies of Science that provide for the really big missions like the James Webb Space Telescope or the Perseverance rover. Those are recommended by the National Academies as the highest priority missions that we should try to achieve over the next 10 years or so. And so that really helps us to prioritize which of those really big missions we're going to do.
So thank you for your time. NASA it really appreciates you having us brief you today. And the Science Mission Directorate is definitely looking to engage the community. So your thoughts, your feedback, just if you would like to talk and find out more, please feel free to contact us.
Doris, any final comments as a moderator? You're muted.
You're muted.
It's the refrain. It won't be a talk without at least one you're muted. So thank you all very much, Dr. Peters, all the panelists, appreciate your time. Apologies for our attendees for the 20 minutes, but we don't finish today. As you know from the calendar, please take a look at the agenda. We have plenty of talks. Our scientists and our engineers are in variety of sessions. Please go for their talks. And also there are the mixers that were mentioned. Thank you again. And thank you for our host, the National Society for Plague Resistance. We hope to see you next year.
Well, we're looking forward to it. Thank you very much. And Dr. Peters, I am just amazed how you took all of that and compressed it, and you did it in a great way. Now you wouldn't speedy along. You moved, but you did it in a great way, and that just shows the impressiveness of the NASA team. We really want NASA, especially to astrophysics, to be engaged with NSBP. We believe that we can really create a great team, especially with workforce development and in so many other ways too. And many of our members are a part of NASA already, and so we want to cultivate that between both organizations. Again, thank you all. And hey, we even set aside this year. We did a little something nice for you all. We working things out, but we got a big one of our big science hours. One is with Brookhaven, that's our major sponsor for this year. But we also got our second one for you, for NASA, the Big Science Hour, where you all will present one of your big science events that's coming up very soon for the conference, and we hope to do that on a regular basis. And that's all I'll say on that. Okay.
Great. So what I will say is Doris has our contact information. Please stay in touch. Let's do some follow-up conversations. I will look forward to talking with you.
Thank you all very much. We have evaluation. It's a quick 3, 4, 3, 5 question. Please fill that out. We have a few other people, participants, and y'all we have to close. Our 4 o'clock is waiting in the wings.
Thank you.
Again, we're sorry, but we're growing. We're a growing organization, and I promise you, this time next year when we have our pre-conference event, we're going to have more than one Zoom webinar feature. Okay, we're going to have 2 or 3 of them, so we won't have to do this next time. But again, we apologize. But again, thank you all so much.
Okay. No worries. Thank you very much.
See you at the conference soon. Okay.
Okay. Bye.